All right, everyone. I'm Guillaume here. This is Stop Losing, Start Trading, and options are also on Wednesdays. But this is the trading show that we at the Panoptic team are doing. I'm joined with Rosalie, aka Crypto Queen. We're discussing trades. We're discussing the markets. We're trying to kind of explore the different ways that options can be part of your trading strategies, and trading options versus trading perps. Seems like some very high profile accounts got revealed to be really bad perp traders. What we try to communicate is that options are better for risk management. It's better for controlling your max losses, controlling your max profit too, but it's just part of the trade off that perps offer that you cannot necessarily escape if you're trading perps. The options actually offer if you're trading perps exclusively. So this is not financial advice. We're just discussing trades, but nothing here should be taken as financial advice. This is just education, financial education as to how we see options and how you can think about this on your own time. But yes, after that disclosure, yes, how are you doing? How are you doing today, Rosalie, on this beautiful Wednesday?
Good. Yeah, I'm doing really good. The market seems to be looking up. I think ETH is going up, and so yeah, I'm very happy about that.
I mean, it's a good maybe homecoming. I think ETH got discussed at the SEC. I mean, the hearing we got in Washington. SEC account, I guess Twitter account, published something about DeFi. Uniswap uni tokens pumped quite interestingly after that tweet. So yeah, overall, it's just kind of a breath of fresh air. A lot of what we've been doing over the past few months was kind of reacting to bearish markets. Intern has been doing okay. Again, it's hard to trade when there's a 40% price move in a few months. But it's not in the again, we're not in a position where we got wiped out. We're still kind of in a good success rate, good track record, and yes, with something we can see with perps. We can we can go over the markets. I know that this is kind of the main driver used to be Bitcoin quite a bit. Now it seems like Ethereum is leading the charge. So again, up the top 10, definitely ETH is the highest in over the past 7 days. Definitely kind of outperforming Bitcoin, which is interesting for our ratio trade. We'll see about this in a minute. But more generally, it's just kind of a interesting, maybe 3 months, interesting escape from that very, very small. Actually, let's do this. Yes, we're here. Escape from that very small, like the low prices we've seen over the past months. Again, very, very low point. I think lowest we've gotten was 14.17 on April 9th. I don't know where you guys were. I think this was on the weekend too, but this is kind of a lot of it was macro driven, a lot of it was street driven. Now we're kind of on the come up. Definitely something that is nice to see. And yeah, do you sense a breakout, or do you think we're gonna keep going, or this is just gonna be range bound? What's your kind of gut feeling about?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might stay range bound. I don't know. I need ETH to go beyond 4K. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. But I
Who
guess
knows? I mean, who knows?
range.
We'll talk about the interesting acquisitions too, but Stripe acquiring Privy, I think like the retail narrative is kind of running its course without saying that retail is not important. But then NFTs, I mean ICOs of course, but NFTs, perps, meme coins, like there's not much more depth that you can do with that. But then when you have institutions, Web2 companies, stablecoin issuers, all of these kind of are going big into crypto. This is overly yeah, very hopeful. Again, I don't know if it's a top signal, but I told my wife over the weekend, hey, something's going on with ETH. Pay attention. And then she bought the ETH ETF in her trading account. Something that now people can do, which is it used to be now she had to go through. Oh yeah, to Gemini. Let me share the story. So I think you use Coinbase mostly, right, to trade
Mhm.
and on board. I was a Gemini guy because I was living in New York, and then Coinbase and Gemini had the two only two exchanges that had a license. I think it's still the same in New York, so it's kind of weird, hard to get. And in your case, you're also based in New York. I chose Gemini. I put some of my funds in the Gemini Earn program, and some of my wife's too. She had some funds from like 2018. And then I think on Twitter, someone said, "Get your funds out of Gemini Earn," because I think DCG, but there was like some shenanigans happening in the back end. And I withdrew my funds, and then it took like a couple of days. It was fine, and then I told my wife, "Hey, maybe you should do it as well." And then she put in the request. I think it was like Friday or Thursday or Friday. And then Monday at 9 a.m., she got the funds. And then 9:15, Gemini said, "We're locking all withdrawals."
What? Wow.
Again, this is FTX, Three Arrows Capital. Everything was unclear. They were kind of double dipping on their balance sheet. And then I know that Steve in the team here had fund stock for like 2 years, but she was like maybe the last outbound transaction that was able to get her funds out. I mean, like maybe at the end of the day, still quite. So she was like happy, but also cautious since then. But now again with ETF, Bitcoin ETF, she can invest in a could even be her 401k. But yeah, in the comfort of boomer finance.
Yeah, my parents as well, they're very curious about investing as well and doing it through like brokers. And I'm like, you got to do it through DeFi. You need to write down your seed phrase, not your seed.
I mean, look, it's kind of ridiculous. Like you go through a process, and I'm sure they either lose it or they don't think it's important. It's like a password post-it that they leave out to you. So it is a definite kind of oh yeah, a definite kind of a setback. I mean, setback. It's not as user friendly as we think. Again, Stripe, payment, again, master company, they do this now with Privy, on chain, crypto. Now you can imagine 10,000 times more users because could be your phone, could be your email address, could be your kind of even your passkey or your seed phrase, but all of it will be made easy through Privy. So I don't know if you know Privy, but you can log in and create an account with your email address, and it's kind of
Yeah.
handling all of this. So
No, it's yeah, crypto is not very beginner friendly at all. Even sometimes when I'm trying to do something on abstract or bridging, like it is so complicated. And I feel like I've been here for such a long time and every day there's like something crazy that comes up. I can't keep up.
yeah, and again, acquisitions is one way for these companies to be successful. We're building the infra, so again, we saw Robinhood buying. I don't know what the name is, but yes, this L2, and now Robinhood has a layer two that they control. Coinbase has Base as well. Kraken has the Ink, but yeah, you can imagine now it could be Fidelity, could be like a real bank trying to dip their toes and do this. So very very interesting. We'll probably dig deeper on that with Brendan in the back half of the show. Otherwise, everything looks green on the top 10. What you see as red is the stable coins, but it's fine. Oh yeah, BNB not doing so great, but that's fine. Again, that's the Uniswap token is also one that has caught my attention a little bit, and we built on Uniswap. It's been kind of moved. I mean, heavily affected for sure, but not as much. I'd say that the as most tokens, but yeah, definitely also huge increase here. Uniswap's got a lot going for it, being US based, being New York based, but also now with the SEC being fully embracing DeFi, I think Uniswap is the main benefactor of that bullish sentiment. So very very interesting. Maybe yeah, let's see the before going to the trading show and the Intern portfolio. Yeah, let me share why what the title is there. The and then yeah, let me get my Twitter out. This is something that again, this is also the transparency of DeFi is kind of what makes the whole thing a lot more honest. I'd say people think, oh yeah, a bunch of scammers, but if you want to scam, everything is in public. This is Andrew Tate's account. He was happy about this little trade here that he made along was it ETH 25x long ETH bullish ETH. I'm sure he was kind of riding that wave, but a good chunk. Yes, he made some money, but at the end of the day, he's down quite a bit since the beginning of the year. And this is kind of the two sidedness. Anyone that is trading perps, I'm sure, has a similar story. Price of ETH was I don't know 3,500 January 1st. Now it was less than half of that for a while. If you're long, if you're trying to be directional, it's hard to be sustainable. That I don't know if he's going to make it back all in one trade, but it's definitely kind of the story that a lot of folks may have been living through. Perps are very binary, very two-sided. You make money, you lose money. Andrew Tate lost 600K. Who made that money? It's the HLP tokens, the market makers on the other side, the ones that were short to sustain this. So again, with perps, it's quite binary. It's very, very PvP. I lose, very zero sum. No one is kind of emerging. The hyperliquid team definitely makes money on the funding and the fees, but at the end of the day, it's very, very binary. Again, I maybe a spicy tweet I'll launch. It's even perps. It's actually a very bad tool for speculation because you have so much leverage on both sides. No protection. No. It's like very, very casino like. There's not much more. So I know you don't trade perps, but do you sympathize with that type of account, or what's your take on?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's just like a small dip, right? He's got a lot of money, so I'm sure it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would be able to sleep. I don't know how people do it. Like, is it like daily? Like, do you just you go in and out and like I don't know. It's
Yeah,
very
I mean the I don't know if it's trades here, but no, it's just the riding the way down. I mean, definitely he was long. The market did not want to cooperate. They got a huge drawdown, stopped trading for a while. They figured out, okay, maybe it's time to go back in and bragged. I don't know. I don't think it's a. We used to do this with influencers, and then even the James one. Maybe they had like two accounts trading one against the other, so it's less risky. But yeah, that is also maybe the perps mentality. Yes, you have maybe another account going plus 600kx, but then you have 25 accounts going down. So
Yeah,
womp womp.
no, it's very risky in my opinion. I lose enough money holding, so I don't need to double down and gamble on that.
No, exactly. And again, the perps system or the futures, they have a use case which is pretty valuable. Again, you have futures on commodities, futures on grain, futures on oil. You need that kind of hedge for long term being sustainable. You cannot kind of if you're an airline, again, you can lock your price in for the next 3 months, 4 months. This is great, and you can do it with options as well, so that if you secure a low price for your oil for the next 4 months, but it goes below, you can still not exercise your option and buy it cheaper. So it has a use case, but for pure speculative purposes, yes, it's liquid, yes, it's easy to trade, but it's definitely not meant to be in a way. Futures and to some extent options are mostly for hedging. For speculations, could be GameStop, could be 25x ETH leverage. It's quite hard to be successful.
Definitely.
Now, yeah, transitioning into a very somewhat successful, but not as you're not losing much. But this is the interns portfolio. I think we secured a couple of wins. One in Eigen. So here, this is kind of the we had a good trade. I don't know if it's worth revisiting, but on the UI again, it might be overwhelming. We have 5 markets. Each of these markets has lots of numbers. This is one of those things that again with options you have kind of some greenness. But the key point is that with Eigen, we can see the ETH balance and the Eigen token balance. So we started with something, but we're up 4% on the ETH side, up 190% on the Eigen side. So we accumulate more coins if you want, both sides. It's hard to now get back to your real profit because ETH and Eigen, they have prices that go up and down. But if you just look in the token balance, we're ahead. Made some ETH, made some Eigen. The option that was profitable was, I think, on the straddle, but it was in the money, so that we made a bit more on the ETH, on the Eigen side. But that's kind of what we want to look for, not just profits. We can look at the profits. It's like uh, this is the open positions as well. But yeah, we're making profits, but it's the token balance that you have to look for. Do you accumulate more ETH or whatever, or if you just start with USDC, do you have more USDC at the end of the day? And that should be kind of the metric for are you successful or not. So again, I think the ETH USDC is not so great because we've been more trading heavily. We got hit with a few of these large moves. but it's like down again 15% on USDC, 30% on ETH, maybe down, I don't know, something like 20%. If you combine this 22%, it's better than being down 40%, which is what we've gotten by being holding. So it's just that would be maybe the best way. And all of these markets have positive negative balances, but it's the goal is to accumulate more tokens. So I think Eigen was very successful. We didn't touch it for like 2 months, and it worked perfectly. And this is the way you want to be. Now we have different markets. Is there one that you want to look at? Again, I'll stop yapping, but yeah, what do we want to look
Um,
for?
yeah, no, I'm curious to see what's going on in the ETH USDC market.
Yeah. So this is one trade that we discussed on the show. This was a bullish trade. Well, maybe a bit bearish, but yeah, somewhat neutral. Where go ahead. Maybe this is one of those where we I think we set a price, but the price moved between the time we discussed and the time that Intern did it. So they moved the strikes up a little bit, but this is still What do you see here on that trade?
Yeah, I mean, it's just losing a little bit in profit, but we're accumulating fees. There's a nice little spread added. And I'm sure ETH will go back down. So
Again, the break evens or the range is from 2,000 to 3,300. And this is a monthly option. We hope that this is going to stay in range for that month. This is kind of neutral in a sense. We don't think it's going to exceed that. So even if we were to go to test 3,200, it's still fine because we're earning fees. So what people have in mind when you think about Uniswap LP positions, they have the range and say, I want to stay in range. But because they're bullish, because they have kind of this positive delta, the risk is on the downside. So here we have a little bit of risk on both sides, but we can kind of double dip and have two legs, twice the capital. We're earning fees again consistently. And yeah, so I'd say that what is a $15 loss would have been again $22, a lot more without the stream. Yeah, so it's our trade off. It's one of those where we just started. We just have to keep going.
yeah, just one day in, so nothing to manage yet.
And then are you still also okay with that range, or the past day shifted your whole world and you say, no, I'm more bullish?
No, no, not yet. I think, yeah, I don't know. I think we're pretty range bound at the moment, even with small spikes. Like that's when people will sell, and so yeah, no.
Okay. Now, I mean, I think, the crypto markets more broadly are definitely in a good spot, but yeah, no, it's fine to have the market specific outlook. So ETH USDC doing great. One trade. Again, we can maybe create another one, but it's fine. We're sitting at 23% margin utilization, so we're kind of way below what is risky in our opinion. So it's fine. And just also so that people can understand, we have one position open in ETH USDC. This is leveraged, so there is some liquidation risk, and we can go on the risk analysis tab to see if we get liquidated and where. And actually, we will never get liquidated. So that's also a good place to be. No risk to lose all your money, only the trading that you're doing that will cause you to lose. So yeah, this is good. So again, just to make sure, something keep in mind, we have one position, never going to be liquidated. That's fine. If we're to open a new one, then we have to kind of factor this in. But yeah, this is actually a very good position to start with.
Cool. Yeah, I'm really curious about our ratio trade as well.
Yes. I looked at this one. As I mentioned in the opening, ETH is on the rip, on the tear, somewhat overperforming Bitcoin. Again, ETH was up, I think, 8% and Bitcoin 5%. So this is the ratio where ETH is overperforming a little bit BTC. That's why we started here. Now the ratio is going up, meaning that the ETH side is overperforming. But yeah, this is another trade that was open 13 days ago, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, what do you feel about this trade now?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about this yet either. I think we're still earning a good amount of fees, and yeah, although we are kind of close to the range on that one leg.
Yeah. So yes, that again, we computer fees. It's a weird number, but yeah, we do earn about 5% more. I think that we had last time. One thing to take into account is that this is two legs. We have them offset a little bit so that one of them could go out of range, the other one can be still in range. But do you think it matters if so it's offset, I guess. So what would happen if we leave that range and ratio still goes up and we're outside of that? So what do you think the impact is on our profits if this happens?
Yeah, I mean, it might be pretty significant since we kind of rely on the fees to offset our losses. But yeah, it depends on the fees. I think with as long as one is still in range, if there's a spread on it, it should be fine, but I would be cautious.
Yeah, exactly. So that trade was specifically created to tap into maybe the higher volatility of some strikes or more demand. So this leg here is being purchased by someone. So someone is bearish the ratio, they buy a put option. This one is also purchased. Someone is bullish the ratio, they bought a call option. And yeah, so the fact that this is the one that has the highest multiplier, if we were to leave that range, it would be kind of the larger impact of the two. So I think it's still fine, but yes, I would keep it on because it's not so far off. We're still earning, and this if the price does stabilize, we could be in the profit. But yeah, the one thing is that this one was meant to be a money printer, and if it's out, then we lose half, a bit more than half even of our revenue. So just something to keep in mind. It's still in range, so we don't have to worry. But yeah, over the next few days, if ETH still goes up, then we might have to maybe rebalance,
Yeah.
collect the fees we've created, which is still kind of offsetting some of the losses, but then yeah, rebalance in center. Okay, so there was another one. Yeah, maybe I think Ticker Bitcoin is doing great. Uh, Not quite, but that's fine. Oh yeah, actually, this one, the delta is -1, so we're at the cusp of being out of range, and it works out that we're barely profitable. So I would also maybe wait because ETH is driving a lot of this, but it seems that Ticker Bitcoin is overperforming ETH. Interestingly enough,
Nice.
you're big. Yeah, I do have this that they gave me uh, in a bar somewhere at ETH Denver. I wear it every time I mow the lawn. But yeah, I'm also interested in seeing Ticker Bitcoin overperform. Oh, there's something weird here, so I will fix this. But yes, I would also wait. No, maybe yeah. Do you think Ticker Bitcoin would continue to outperform because any up price means that we lose more and more?
Yeah, I mean, I get maybe, since it's, it went down a lot, and so I think any kind of price move is quite significant, at this time, but I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't wanna say this, but it feels kind of a little bit like it's dead. I want it to go back up, of course, but yeah, I don't know. Meme coins, they tend to have just such a short lifespan,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it's been around for a lot longer than the down maybe, but a lot longer of the whatever launchpad meme coins. Even Shiba Inu and like Doge and the OGs, and I think Bitcoin Ticker Bitcoin is part of that OG class, so I wouldn't rule them out. But yes, I do think that the narrative is yeah pretty hard to kind of sustain.
I
With
just don't
so
think it will go back to 30 cents. That's the last time I bought some, of course. I'm really good at buying at all-time highs, but that's okay.
oh really? So what's the current price now? So again, it's thinking in terms of the yeah exactly. So it's 10 cents.
Good.
Again,
Last time I looked, it was like zero point 0.6, so at least.
so the reason why, yeah, just today, past 24 hours, it went up 23%. So in a weird way, maybe meme coins are like a leverage bet on ETH because ETH went up. Yes, people double down on Ticker Bitcoin in a weird way. It's the poor man's yeah accessing leverage because they move so quickly. So all right, so maybe we'll keep it on and see what Friday brings us because you don't want to overreact in a way. This is a 1 day move. Maybe it's going to go back down, we keep back up, but you want to maybe have it still seems to be in motion, so you want to maybe factor out like some downtime and not overreact. So and then I'm sure that the gas might be up now. What's the gas like? Yeah, 5 Gwei. So these trades could now kind of be more expensive than the 1 Gwei that we see from some while. So
How is our Bitcoin trade doing? Yeah.
Yeah, this one is also on a tear. This is Bitcoin USDC. So price action on Bitcoin helps us. We have two trades, one which is delta neutral and one which is bullish. And actually, this one is the older one, but maybe we discuss closing it. But I'll maybe that yeah, this is a yeah. Can you walk us through what you see here on this trade?
Yeah, so we've kind of went up a little bit since we bought it, and we're still making good profit. We're earning some premia as well. I think we're at a great part of the slope too. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's close to the starting point. So this is not something that is, and it's going up. So it's a the assumption was correct, and as you say, it's a good slope. We don't want to be in that dangerous area here, which is kind of getting overexposed. But yeah, this if it trades sideways between 100 and 120, for instance, this is the best outcome for this trade. And yeah, it's quite small again. I think the most we can do is $10, which is fine. This is a smaller account, but this is just for kind of being directional. But yeah, this one has a good, yeah, it's a good trade. I wouldn't touch it either. Being in range the whole time, collecting fees, and the other one I think which was open 4 days ago. Let me have a look too. Uh, this one is about the same size, but this one is neutral and it's a weekly option as well. So that might change how we manage this. Huh? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Looks good, but yeah, we're definitely kind of halfway through that slope, right? So I guess if it just continues to go back and forth, we can, yeah, make more fees. But
Yeah.
how
So
far are we into it?
we are two legs that are kind of offset from one another. The that position's sweet spot is still 100K to 120K, which is where you earn the most. This was a bullish, neutral to bullish, but price was here. We are at the max, if you want, of the profits. So if this was a trade 4 days into a week, I would almost be kind of tempted to close and make the profits because it's a small trade. Gas will wipe this out. So I would not necessarily do more. But yeah, I think the two of them have a sweet spot between 100 and 120K. Both of them would lose a lot if it were to go drop below 100K. This one will lose if it goes above 120K. So this is just also another one that is right directionally. It's halfway through, so I would not maybe over react and manage this right away. But it's still working for us the best way it's supposed to. So yeah, I would also recommend not necessarily touching it. There's still some action that I expect between 100 to 115K even
Yeah,
on
we
Bitcoin.
can. Yeah, let's check on Friday. Maybe we can close it then.
Yep. And that's it, I think. So we've looked at all the positions. This is interesting. Maybe, yeah, this is one of those, it's almost too, not risky, but uh, the market is talking to us. It's moving. So a lot of what I do as an option seller is try to stay away when there's a large market move so that I set up my trades that I can sustain 10% moves. And then after it seems to be stable, then you double down, redeploy. If you try to catch, like, again, catching a falling knife, you can actually be uh, wrong directionally. So I will always wait a little bit. Again, it's a monthly option. 1 or 2 days doesn't change much. So you're better off with having some level of, unless I'm very bullish, I would be selling puts through the rally, but I'm also neutral, so I would just wait. So this is cool. So we're kind of halfway mark. This is the trading portion again with Rosalie and the intern trading perpetual options. We're on the risk management side where we can sustain a lot of these moves and not get wiped out. This is great. And then yeah, $601,000 more rich than Andrew Tate. Let's go to the second half of the show, which is with Brendan. Let me summon him. Hello, Brendan, and then maybe thanks, Rosalie. This was great. But yeah, let's go on Friday. I'm sure we'll see a lot more actions then too.
Wonderful. Welcome to Options Hour. We're going to go over some of the options news and markets. This is our second portion of the show after We just witnessed the Intern's portfolio to help them stop losing like some other famous influencer who's down 600K.
It would be hard to actually lose that much with perp options. I think the trade that would make you lose a 20x 25x leverage in perps is easy to set up and easy to set up wrong. But if you want to lose money with options, there is kind of a safety net built in. You cannot go 25x leverage and you cannot do a purely naked play like this. So yeah, I would also be kind of by construction, perps are also more risky. We to go much higher on the leverage scale than options.
Yes, indeed. It's a lot of speculation and not as much risk management, I think. But this will be very interesting to see. We have a Twitter space, actually, I believe. I'll share. Let's see if I can find it here. We have one coming up, so you won't want to miss that. Let's see if it is here. Oh yeah, another one of these.
Uh-oh.
Another perp-like. But we do have a debate coming up with synthetics next week. So sorry, I'm not seeing it here, but we can tweet that out if it hasn't already been tweeted. So big Twitter space next week, Panoptic and synthetics discussing the merits of perps versus options. So you have to stay tuned for that debate with our very own Rosalie. Very exciting coming up, where I'm sure we'll hear more about this. Also in the Panoptic news, so we'll cover some company news here. We have a very nice, healthy trading going on in the CBBTC USDC market. Just looking at some of the trade tape here, going through that market, we've got option being closed for some nice gains here.
I see a familiar name for sure. The winner of the previous competition was MMM. Another one,
yes.
40% up trade. They are crushing it. And this is this is a perp, like this is two of them. Very, very interesting. This is a perp like product. So this is maybe how you can lose if you're wrong, but then if you're right, it's easy to make money.
Yeah, I'm sure we scroll down further. We wanted to scroll too much down further to find some losing perp. But if we switch over to the leaderboard here, we'll see, for example, Ohm is down here at number 8, doing small trades, of course, and with their account. And then the highest position right now is at nearly 6% increase in their portfolio. So we've got lots of prizes going on here. To enter, you just have to deposit into this CBBTC market on Base. Head to app.panoptic.xyz and you'll see a big banner on the top about how to join the competition. And we've got prizes for all the way up to 50th place. So far, everyone's a winner. So if you join right now, you're still winning. So do join. We got a very special prize here too. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, funny story. So I signed up my son. Oh my god. Yeah, we do have to order this, I think. I signed up my son to soccer over the spring, like whatever season, and he's great. He's loving it. But then everyone got a medal at the end. But the funny thing is that we were in the wrong group. So every week they had to manually put his name down. But there were 2 groups in that field. And then at the end of the when they were handing out medals, we figured out, his name is in the other group. But then he had a report card and he had like real scores, even though we never played with that group. He excelled at everything and got the medal, even though he never met the coach. Very interesting.
Well, that's awesome. I'm sure he was.
So same as if we won't even look at your trading. If you're part of the top 50, he will just give you the best we can, which is pips in that case.
Yes, top 20, you're getting cash, hard, cold, digital cash, I guess. But yeah, so we've got prizes for everyone here, and things are going on. We're not quite even halfway through. I think we're about a third of the way through, so we've still got 19 days, 22 minutes, and 30 seconds left on this competition. It's not too late to join. And we'll be throwing more contests. So even here on the top right, you see we have some other contests planned after this one. So you don't want to miss out on this special Michael Saylor Pillow Prize. So yeah, that's our base competition. And let's move over to some of the news going on in crypto. So we are up on the day with ETH hitting some nice rebounds. I think we're over 2,800 at this point. Bitcoin's kind of steady, maybe down a tiny bit over the 24-hour period. But a lot of this is coming off the heels of a very kind of important signaling by the SEC's Twitter account, X account, I should say. Here we have the SEC tweeting out a big long thread, a thread. They even use the thread emoji. So
the thread symbol is boomerized. So yeah, we should find a different. There was a yarn. Someone put a yarn. Like there's another one that looks maybe like a thread. So, anyways,
yeah. All right. Well, we don't want to be tweeting the same thing as the SEC. So, but in this case, we've got some important signaling to the industry about putting DeFi at the same sentence as private property rights and economic liberty and American value. So a very strong signal here by the new, I believe.
Can you look at, so this is a lot of the folks in crypto from the beginning have this view as well. It's not just about kind of, I mean, of course, not scamming people, but it's like liberty. You have to have the ability to do whatever you want. Gatekeeping left and right. We deal with options and we see this all the time. Anyone that wants to trade options, is impossible to do. So extremely happy about this stance and extremely good to see the almost 180 side change, which is again good for everyone, especially us in the US as well. And maybe I don't know what people can you look at the quotes, like the first few ones. Hopefully, let's see if the people are agreeing. So you click on the retweet button. Okay. That's right. I think people are bullish. I don't know if the anti-crypto army and the messaging that we've had over the past year was like so top heavy that I think that no one is kind of caring about crypto as much as the previous SEC chairs were. Because I feel like, yeah, at least maybe we're biased because it's a crypto account, but most people would be neutral to bullish on crypto more generally. As long as we get rid of the scammers, like there's no more like reason not to embrace this. And yeah, I would see zero negative sentiments, I guess, which is good for the space for sure.
Yeah, very bullish comments here. Lots of eye emojis, lots of excitement, lots of shilling of various crypto protocols at the same time. But yes, definitely very bullish for Ethereum as we've seen that price rebound. We'll look at some stats here, just with TVL and DeFi. Part of this going up because of the ETH price, but part of it just going up because of the bullishness. So we see DeFi Llama, just TVL in total across, all blockchains that they're aggregating, is now up to about $120 billion. That's up from around $90 billion just 2 months ago.
Can you go back? Like, what was it earlier this year? So the price got crushed, but yes, do we have like a net info, you think?
Yeah. I mean, we're nowhere near an all-time high because we were at 130 billion just before.
But the price got halved, I guess. So half as less. I mean, I don't know if it's all stable coins, but no, this is, again, if you were to look at the true, maybe like ETH or Bitcoin denominated value, you would probably see like a much steeper slope too, not just kind of that.
Yes. Yeah, I would think so. DeFi Llama, please add that. But yes. So dollar terms, we're not at all-time highs, but we have been seeing some inflows over the last month. So very exciting for the space. I think people are interested. If we switch over to the derivative markets, we'll see that ETH is competing for a lot of mind share now with this. The derivatives volume is what we're looking at here, has actually topped the Bitcoin derivatives volume just over the last week.
Interesting.
And
So
we're
this is
now,
like perps and options and everything, or yeah, what's the volume there?
yeah, so this is coin glass, so I'm not sure exactly how they do it. It's definitely mostly perps that is going on here, but I'm sure they probably add a little bit of everything, including options. So we are seeing some greater attention to ETH. Lots of volume being traded. However, their open interest, interestingly enough, is lower than Bitcoin. Do you know what this means? If we see a high recent volume but lower relative
I had to
open
go
interest?
through. I was also confused. Like maybe I'm ashamed of this, but like maybe a month ago on the options, open interest versus volume. But yeah, the I think in the trading firms, I think that's it. Yeah, the volume and open interest are two different things. When you trade perps, you go long. The market maker either has to mint a long and a short, a new contract, and then sell half of it to you if you want, or they have someone in their inventory and they just kind of sell it to you directly. So the open interest is how many times people had to mint new contracts, take both sides in a way that nullifies this thing. So in the options world is also buying and selling an option at the same strike. Here is the same thing. So open interest is definitely um, on the how real, like how many real contracts have been created, and the volume is how much back and forth there is between, could it be market makers or it could be between people. So in the example, yeah, being, I don't know if the volume, the open interest is kind of a snapshot, whereas volume is 24 hours. So even though the Bitcoin and open interest seems to be close to one another, I would say it's like an accident. But yeah, it's just how much velocity each contract has. And in that case, people probably are maybe taking both sides, long and short. So you have one open interest, you sell the long to someone else buys a short from you. So you have like the two volume without having to commit a new one. So that might be why we see such higher volume. But yeah, it's like it's hidden a little bit. And again, you don't know if it's TradFi, you have zero idea. If it's on-chain perps, maybe you have a little bit more grasp. What we would see is in Panoptic, we don't have a distinction between open interest and volume. It's just, oh, we have actually, we do have, yeah. Open interest would be how much liquidity has been deposited. And this open interest, I think, is the sum of the long and the short, which is not quite alignment with the volume, but that might be more like volume as opposed to open interest. But that's like the sum of how much has been sold and purchased versus just how much has been sold. So I think, yeah, the number looks a bit better. This should be volume in theory, but that's fine. So yeah, if you click any of those strike, like the maybe it helps to show that, oh, maybe one that has some activity. We see this is open interest. How much has been, like the 2981 has good activity on both sides. This is the amount that has been deposited. It's the bigger like rectangle, and the amount that's been purchased or removed is like the hollow part. So that is, maybe you add 5 to 3. This is 8 in volume, but only 5 in open interest. Something like that.
Very interesting. Okay, so how much, if I want to know how much liquidity there is, I would have to. So I see 8 here, open interest. That's kind of more like the volume, and then I click
exactly.
in. There is what is this, 3 available for me to buy, or 2 here?
I think it's 2. It would be 5 actually, open interest. This is how much real physical contracts have been created. And in perps world or in the options world, it's also the same metric. How many contracts have been created? That doesn't mean you can buy all of it. And if there's a interest of like 10 contracts and you want to buy 25, like it's not as linear as that. But yeah, that would be maybe how we do it. So yeah, maybe we can read about this as volume, but that's kind of the way that we approach this.
Well, very cool. Thanks for explaining. I definitely, it's not easy to keep track of all these similar seeming metrics. Just looking, the price has recently moved down. Well, I guess up here to the 2850-ish level. I'm seeing a lot of past open interest or volume back on the lower price
Yeah.
strike. So it looks like something has though moved up here at this 28.41 strike. So it looks like we've got a large amount of liquidity being sold.
Yeah. So these are again we will likely see more and more liquidity. This is a one-day option. If you want to trade CUDT, there's a ton of liquidity, 100K that you can use. We are kind of seeing a big uptick and more sophisticated traders at larger size too. So this is kind of part of our kind of also like um, yeah, we have an SLA, but yeah, at the end of the day, we are able to see a lot more volume, a lot more activity. If you want to buy now, we have a much higher ceiling as to how much you can buy before it gets it starts to hurt. But yeah, it's all very very. So yeah, the way to see it is that liquidity that lags is kind of contributing to higher volatility. Normally, if this liquidity was very very actively managed, it would stabilize the price. But because the price is moving so suddenly, you don't even know. You don't want to make a bet midway. Like I said with Rosalie, typically you have to wait a little bit. There could be a reversal to give you a better price. If it still keeps going, then now we have kind of liquid wounds and kind of maybe hedge or move it. It's just kind of that inertia that causes the extreme movement in volatility. It's hard to know. And then this person has probably a bunch of buyers on the other side. They may have to exercise. They may have to kind of reduce their size. So there is some like level of friction that exists. But it's still in range, so I wouldn't worry. They're still collecting fees.
Yeah, these 1 week options are probably at the 25.81 strike. Yeah, are those in range?
Yeah, the best way is to look at the delta. And the one day has zero. Yeah, it's hard to.
So the 1 days are out of range.
Yes.
But the 1 week option is a bit wider. So they're still earning premia if they're being sold.
Yeah.
Barely, yeah, seven delta. Okay, well, very cool. We're just getting started here. It's great to see things starting to pick up, a little bit more liquidity for option buyers, and of course, you can always sell and still make premium. That's the special thing about Panoptic. Cool enough. And we'll also quickly just look at the perp funding rates. So just a second ago, I saw this was flashing negative, and now I'm switching back over and it's positive.
Oh yeah.
But if we look at the actual timeline here of Bitcoin funding rates, we did see some occasional negative funding rates over the weekend, starting in Friday and then into Sunday, and even a bit on, it looks like Monday morning, which is interesting because when the negative funding rate is negative overall, that means there's a lot more short demand, bearish demand in the perps market. And so the shorts have to pay the longs to continue holding their positions. That has since reversed back at the start of this week. And so we're back into the normal positive rate territory.
And then to add some color, so is the yellow line up top the price?
Yes, the BTC price.
Yeah, so that's right. It seems weird. You're like paying to be short, but it seems to be in a rally. Price has been going up and it's going up and up and up. And yeah, it makes a ton of sense because this is people covering their positions. You are either neutral, and then people think, oh, it's short, but you could be neutral, and as the price goes up, then now you have to kind of hedge and you have to buy, and then there's now a flip side, which is kind of a reversal of the funding rate, and that's kind of the reason why we see some of that. So again, the funding rate tells you a story about how people hedge, I guess, in perps, and not necessarily how they trade.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting view. Yeah, so this is an article from the block, kind of striping any part in the past 2 years where there has been a negative funding rate, which isn't the norm. And they were kind of pointing out that we typically never see the stripes at the all-time highs. It's like we see these stripes going in, and then some consolidation, and then some price rises. Not that the past predicts the future, but I thought it was.
Yeah, without looking too much into the patterns, but yeah, there's always like a sudden move up. Maybe like it's stable, but there's an upswing, and then now people have to kind of cover and then react to it. Again, in the last few days, could be that it went down, but then now it's going up. No reason why for it to go negative. It's just maybe because it went up. Just because of that. Yep.
Yeah. Could be as simple as one hedger or one well needed to put some shorts on for a weekend. But
yeah, maybe so.
interesting to monitor. Besides that, in the news, we have some very exciting LP incentives that were announced on our Twitter page. So this is the Uniswap Foundation funded proposal to basically bootstrap Uniswap v4 and Unichain. It's being maintained by Gauntlet and run through Merkle. And so these incentives are for Uniswap LPs on v4. And right now, the incentives are live on Unichain. And the great thing is you can actually double dip. You can get some options premia through Panoptic while LPing through Panoptic, but also earn these uni incentives. So there are 12 markets, which I think we support 5 of these markets right now. So we have some really cool Unichain markets you can dive into if you want to start earning some of these uni incentives. So basically, some of the major markets, the ETH, the wrap Bitcoin, and even the USDT zero stablecoin denominated markets. So hop on that if you're an LP and want some uni incentives.
And the way that we'll distribute. So this is kind of the owner of these uni tokens is the Panoptic pool. So we'll do a lot of what again protocols where we'll redistribute the incentives and then we'll match it to the points that you're earning, so that it's not just kind of only favoring one side. We have kind of this system that favors the passive users, the buyers, and the sellers all at the same time. So technically, buyers would not be earning any points if it's on Unichain, but in that case, we uni token. I mean, that we will kind of redistribute using that format.
Oh, okay. Well, very interesting. So, yeah, it sounds like we have some details we'll be announcing then of how the redistribution of the uni incentives will work. So that's exciting. It sounds like more details to follow there, but you can start LPing now and get in on those uni incentives. So even just in the next 2 weeks, they have planned 440,000 uni tokens, which at the current rate, when uni token went up in price, thanks to the DeFi news, is worth about almost $4 million. And this is a rolling period. Every 2 weeks, it's basically reassessed by Gauntlet and readjusted for different pools. But this is for the next 2 weeks. We have almost $4 million being issued to LPs to incentivize here. So some nice juicy APRs.
So this is like subsidizing the IV. You're doing some trading. You're providing some liquidity. You get realized fees. You have this extra revenue that is kind of supplementing it. So it's pumping the IV, which is great. In the case of a buyers, if you buy options through Panoptic, would also kind of compensate you or reduce the IV. So this is kind of a double incentive, which is not just getting more when you sell, but paying less when you buy as well, because the incentives kind of add up. So it's just we've seen this during DeFi summer. It's like a very, very common way to bootstrap liquidity. But yes, in the terms of options, kind of the mindset is that it's a way to subsidize the IV, make it more worthwhile. Yes, you can be subject to impermanent loss, but you have like a safety net, which is there, allowing you to be more profitable.
Okay. Well, very interesting. Maybe I'll share this. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but we have some APIs too. Let's see if I can share this little notepad thing.
Yeah.
So we're just doing some data scraping of some Uniswap pools, and we do have this Unichain V4 pool, for example, the ETH USDC 0.05% pool. Looking at the APYs over, APRs, technically, I guess this would be. But if we look at the APRs over the last month and then annualize them, if you deployed full range liquidity, you'd be only getting about 8%. But that is actually higher than what you were getting over the last 3 months annualized APR rates. So things are actually ticking up. So I guess that's one sign the bootstrapping is kind of nice, because that means we're seeing additional swap volume going in, because obviously we're seeing additional liquidity being poured in to farm the incentives. But at the same time, we're getting compensated with outsized swap volume. So that's kind of nice to see. If you do provide liquidity at a tighter range, so for example, this is about plus 27% above the current price and also about 27% below the current price, you're going to earn some higher APRs because you're more concentrated. We're looking at around 73%. So this is before uni token incentives. So I think they're estimating like somewhere around 10 to 30% additional incentives from the uni tokens on top of this. But
And then
just
they do their calculation in a weird way, because if you're also at the 1 month, you're concentrated, you earn a larger fraction than all the TVL. And again, I don't know if we see a lot of this single tick wide or very, very narrow, but the advertised one is amortized across all deposits. Whereas in reality, the narrower liquidity got probably like 50%, I'd say, of the rewards. So they do get a much bigger boost as well. So it's like non-linear as well. And the APY displayed on the Unichain interface is underrepresenting, I guess, if you're any level of concentrated.
yeah, because it's so the APRs you see on Uniswap's site take into account all liquidity provided, including out of range liquidity. So if you are not like, you have to think about, how do I compare to all the liquidity providers? If I'm not as bad as even just that, if I just provide liquidity that's in range, that's not even out of range, I'm already going to get a slightly, I'm doing better than than some people. So if you're better than the average LP in terms of being in range and concentrated, then you're also getting a better APR than what's being shown on the site. And there's good reason to think you're doing better, because there's a lot of liquidity that's just out of range. I don't know specifically on this Unichain pool, but definitely on a lot of these ETH, Ethereum mainnet and base pools, I think there's probably a good chunk of out of range liquidity. So interesting to see the APRs spiking up on Unichain. I think for the rest of the markets, they're slightly down actually compared to 3 months ago. Maybe things are being sucked, swap volumes being sucked towards Unichain a bit, or maybe not. Maybe it's another reason. But
I mean, again, the if you go back to the incentive, I think it's fine. Like the gauntlet post that shows the TVL
yes.
and the EPY. Yeah, you want to bootstrap liquidity, you want to bring in liquidity, and to some extent, if there's $1 billion worth of liquidity and Binance's price is moving, then when you'll have trading that happens organically. So the ceiling of liquidity on AMMs is quite high. Again, at some point you will find a place where there's a flip and price discovery happens on chain. But for now, you can imagine that having 10x the liquidity means there's 10x the arbitrage volume, 10x the fees. But the retail flow, the people really trading, will probably stay constant unless there's like a lot of activity. So I would say that this is probably a very, very clear example of, if you're an LP and you just look at the fees collected on a chain which is mostly arbitrage, you'll likely get a much lower IV, much lower payout. And these incentives can compensate for that for sure. If you were to look at the same returns on mainnet or even base, where there might be a lot more organic activity, then you have kind of smaller trades that aren't necessarily for arbitrage purposes only. You have like a little bit more dynamism that makes it so that you'd have more trades, more rate of renews, higher IV. So it's based on realized volatility, but the realized floor is pure arbitrage, which is kind of very, very low, but realized on active trading is still kind of higher. So the maybe having these incentives are good, but you want to convert people to now live on Unichain, trade on Unichain, not just kind of be the arbitrageurs that are also kind of, I'm sure, making a lot of money there, but having a reason for using the pool themselves afterwards. So yeah, that might be the if incentives dry up, unless there's a organic demand, it's going to be hard to maintain that PBL.
Yeah, I think the hope is maybe some stickiness of onboarding, and we'll see how much capital does stick around. So far, I don't know how long this program is going for, but it seems to be at least several more biweekly periods. We've got incentives lined up for from the proposal.
Oh, wait, look at row 3. Is there a mistake there, you think?
So yeah, it was hard for me to concentrate this whole time, because I'm like, what is this 838% feature pool? With hardly any volume compared to the other pools.
And it's incentive. Yeah, maybe it's a typo, but yeah.
But anyways, yes, that is the options hour for this week. Thanks for joining us. You can cue the music as we outro, maybe. Always fun to.
Yeah, let me again. This is restream. Yeah, thanks for joining us. This is a cool like we. All right, let's see this music. Yeah, hopefully you learned a thing or two. But yeah,
Oh, we lost your mic for a second there.
Uh,
I'm not sure if it's my end, but
okay.
oh, there you're back. You sound like you're underwater for a second.
Oh, really? Okay, no, I'm fine. Anyways, this was great. Thanks for joining. I'll see you around on Friday again, Brandon, with the best trades of the week, but also with Rosalie. Yeah, this was great. So we'll see you on Friday.